Thanks so much for joining us today for Secret Sand and Stories. So today we have the artist, Neo Artifacts, of Fazleen Karlan here with us.
So the first one, I'll be guiding you how to create your own artifacts. So that is the stories part of this workshop. And then the next part of the workshop, I'll be showing some video clips but from movies that portray Hollywood, how Hollywood represents archaeology. And then it will be a chance for me and you also, maybe if you want to yap together about what you've seen in the movies. So everyone, you have your two pieces of plastic sheet, right? So one of them is for you to place your clay so that you are protecting the table. By the way, this is like a little example of what you'll be making today. It can be as small as this, or it can be slightly larger. Okay, I see that some of you are done with your first layer. So you may proceed to build up your artifact by starting on layer number 2. So when I come to your table, you can dig your hands inside, see what you'll find, and you can choose to insert it inside your artifact, okay? For the painting part, it's actually quite straightforward. Just use your brush and just dab the colors along your artifact.
For the second half, Fazleen will actually be sharing some clips from some famous archaeological Hollywood pop culture movies, or also documentaries that speak to archaeology or archaeological themes, and open up the room for a bit of a discussion. We do have some time for it, so hopefully we'll be able to have a lively discussion as well. But just to reiterate that, all of this, both the artifact making and this viewing session, really has been thought up in relation to her installation on the 3rd floor, where she really dives into archaeology, or the visual language of archaeology as well, and what it takes for us to also, what comes into the understanding or the formation of our understanding of, historical civilizations as well. So I'll pass the time back to Fazleen for her to share a bit more for the next part.
Okay, so now that we are done with your artifacts, we're gonna leave them alone, okay? And hopefully they'll dry on time. Okay, so I'm just gonna share some thought processes that went behind the work and this workshop as well. So what you have experienced is like essentially a form of like art making inspired by archaeology. So archaeology is often shown as this very thrilling adventure, and it has like the lone hero braving tombs or like solving puzzles in a temple. But real archaeology is not exactly like that. It's actually very labor intensive and methodical, and sometimes it's very slow because of the amount of work that it requires. And also, it's very collaborative in a sense where you need a lot of people to actually make it work. Okay, so just a little bit of context. Where I'm coming from is that I used to be a post-excavation technician with the archaeology unit. So what I do is actually I took care of artifacts from the Empress Place excavation back in 2015. So that was about 2.5 tons of pottery, sherds, and such artifacts found in that site, which is outside ACM. So till today, all these artifacts are still not completely processed yet. So that speaks to the amount of time that's actually required for archaeological processes to happen. And today I'm going to contrast it with what you see in the movies. So let's begin.
For a star.
I'm going to move on to the next clip in the interest of time, and then I'm going to talk about it later on. Okay, you have a job like this, make sure your insurance coverage is very good. Okay, so earlier on, I just wanted to ask you, what do you notice about how archaeology is portrayed here, and how does that make you feel? Does it feel like a lot of hard work, or does it feel like you have to be a very brave person to do this job? Anybody want to share some thoughts? Okay, I'll just let your thoughts marinate first, okay? I'll ask again later. Okay, so for the next clip that I'm showing, it will be from the Netflix series called Ancient Apocalypse. And this is the first episode called And Then There Was Flood. So this episode actually features Gunung Padang, which was the main inspiration behind the law of Gunung Perantaian in Secret Sweats and Sands. So please pay attention to how this discovery is being portrayed and framed.
The natural position, there is no ground mass in between. It will be very tight together. But here, in between these columnar rocks, there is a mortar that holds them together, just like cement. The thickness is like 5 centimeters, and it's very consistent.
Right, so they're kind of leveling out the construction blocks with the mortar between them, put there deliberately by human beings as part of a construction process. So Danny began to investigate this, and this is where the surprises began to appear. What Dr. Hillman started to realize as he put together all his data was that Gunung Padang is much more than just a hill. This is the ancient site of Gunung Padang. The north side features a stairway, climbing more than 300 feet until it reaches the first of 5 terraces. Over an area about 490 feet long by 130 feet wide. The entire hill is ringed by retaining walls of columnar basalt. Using an estimated 50,000 blocks, it's a massive terraforming project that remodeled a volcanic hill into what can best be described as a step pyramid.
Okay, so in the segment that you have just seen, okay, very dramatic music to set the mood. And how this has been presented is that it gives you that visual language of legitimacy. So there must be an expert, there must be a white guy, sorry, and then, and I mean, like, with the recent controversy, his paper was actually recalled, so that actually adds on to the mystery and debate surrounding this site. And that is also what archaeology is about. It's about discussion. It's not just about a single viewpoint and thinking that, oh, this is right and this is set in stone. Things change, okay? New discoveries can happen. New conclusions and findings can happen, okay? But the way it is presented is also quite sensationalized, as you can tell from the visual language. So lots of drone shots, and then, it's very, it gives off this feeling of like you're looking at something that's really majestic. Okay, and it's really, really convincing when you watch the whole documentary. Okay, and then for the next part, this is from Kunk on Earth. So this is actually a mockumentary. If you have seen it before, let's watch it again, how she describes this particular segment.
Cave paintings like these are one of the first examples of civilization on Earth. Don't worry, it gets better.
Early cave artists started out painting whatever was close to hand, like their hands.
Then they branched out into stories. Initially, just boring stories about cows standing still. But soon they began creating white-knuckle fight scenes like this. Humans versus cows 2D. To a caveman, this was the thrilling equivalent of Fast and Furious Part 7. Have any of the cave paintings been adapted into films? I suppose they couldn't get the rights anywhere, though, could they?
Filmmaking obviously arose much, much later than the end of the cave paintings.
So there hasn't been like a cave wall that's been like, oh my God, that's an incredible story. We need to get Steven Spielberg to make this.
It would be hard to come up with a story that would last an hour and a half based on just one panel in a cave.
Some believe these violent images were painted as a religious act intended to bring good luck in upcoming battles. We don't know why humankind was at war with the cows, and tragically, we never will. In fact, we'll probably never even know the name of the artist or these cows, because whoever painted this is almost certainly dead now.
Okay, so for this segment, okay, so so basically
Today it's just a dismal...
Sorry. So today we actually know that she's making a mockery out of this, but at the same time, how does parody or comedy change the way we see archaeology? Does it bring us closer to the truth, or does it distort the truth even further? So this is something that you can think about, okay? And in a way, Secret, Sweats and Sands is a critique of the cinematic archaeology. It asks us what do we lose when we focus on the dramatic find, okay, and what are the kind of stories that gets the attention within that sphere of like Hollywood movies. It's always very Eurocentric, and it's always set in a very far off location, but what if we change the context and we try to set it in a Southeast Asian place? So in a way, that sort of influences what went into the work itself, and it also foregrounds the process over the discovery. So in movies, you actually see a lot of the focus being the excavation itself, but in real archaeological work, much of the process happens like right after the excavation also. So in a way, for me, if you step into the installation itself, I would love for you to notice all these traces and notice all the ways that these film references have actually influenced the way we think about archaeology. Okay, I think we have one more clip. I just want you to notice the difference between this and what we have just watched for the past 3 programs.
بص هم 32 سنتي بس يعني اكيد لطفل صغير.
اي دكتور شايف كده
ده درس.
زي ما قلت لحضرتك انه الجبل بطبيعته موحش.
اسناني
انت في عالم الاموات.
اركب لك درس لا مسوس حتى.
مومياوات الاطفال بالذات يعني قلبي بيتكسر لما بشوف موميا طفل تحديدا.
الاسنان دي طلعت هنا كده من الموميا من تحت. الدروس صغيره جدا يعني. صغيره 18 يعني قول ماشي 15 14 كده يعني. We saw that it is a child, but not just one. It is more than one child. We collect all these bones and we ask our anthropologist who comes and investigates these bones for us.
Every piece of bone can tell you something. Not only the way of death. The more interesting stories are about their lives. How did they live?
Left side. Left.
Was he healthy? Was he happy? Was he sad? It can be known just from the bones. My name is Amira Shaheen. I'm a professor of rheumatology in Faculty of Medicine, Cairo University. And I work here to examine the bones which are found in the different expeditions. I'm going to shred this one and then I'm going to study the pieces. When Dr. Sabri asked me to come, he told me there are small bones for children. How many, we don't know. That's it. It's important we find a large number of persons and we want to know the common traits or the different features of the bones. First of all, I say Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so the rest of it, you can actually watch it on Netflix. It's called Secrets of the Saqqara Tomb. So I wanted you to think about what sort of feelings come up when you're watching this clip as compared to the earlier ones. Okay, what does the slowness tell us about real archaeological work? So beyond critiquing movies, my work actually opens up the questions about archaeology itself. First of all, how do we interpret the past and who gets to tell the story? And also, what is lost when history is oversimplified or sensationalized? Much of media representations erase the labor and the ethical responsibility behind archaeological practices. So in a way, my work sort of tries to restore that, to create a space where care and attention and reflection matters. And there's also a lesson for all of us. Just like the movies are very selective of what they show, they tend to frame or focus on the most exciting part of archaeology. We are also selective of what we remember and what we celebrate and what we preserve. So Secret, Sweat and Sand is to remind us that history is made of the small, often overlooked details, and this comprises of traces of efforts, fragments of lives, and layers of time. So, okay, now it's your turn. I finished yapping already. Okay, does anyone want to share about their experience today or their experience about archaeology in general? I would love to open the floor to anyone. Haven't yet. No, we have not found any dinosaur bones yet.
Is dinosaur very related to archaeology?
In a way, it's its own subject. It's called paleontology. Yeah, so cousins, but distant cousins. Like, you know, the one you see during Chinese New Year, like once a year, that kind of cousin, yeah.
Archaeology is the study of human civilizations.
Human civilizations, material culture, man-made objects, structures. It's quite wide also, but yeah, adjacent to like dinosaurs. Yeah.
There was once I heard in Singapore there's a lot of like artifacts, but because of like development, we are not going in anymore to.
Ho ho ho. Okay, let me rephrase this properly because there's a camera rolling. There might have been areas that were affected because of development, but you know, sometimes when we chase progress too fast, we lose what is beneath our feet. So for that, I hope that, you know, things would slow down a little bit because, for example, if I want to excavate an area, I can't just go out. I need to get a permit. I need to get permission from whoever's telco lines are down there, or like electrical power, and then I need to go to like SLA. So there's a lot of steps involved when you want to excavate a place in Singapore. It takes up a lot of time, a lot of labor in a way. So I hope that we can all champion for a Singapore that is still progressing, but we don't have to be so rushed yet. Yeah. Yes. Okay, the first archaeologist was Professor John 𝘚𝘕𝘰, and together with his wife, Professor 𝘚𝘸𝘦𝘢𝘵 from NTU. And then there's my two ex-colleagues, Dr. Michael Flecker and Michael Ng, who is the assistant curator for the maritime archaeology. So both of them are experts in maritime archaeology. And then I have another ex-colleague, Mr. Aaron Kao, who is currently with Heritage SG. How many already? 5. At least 5. Okay. So far, that's all I know, because I've worked with them before. I've worked with Michael and Aaron and Dr. Flecker. So, any other questions? Does anyone want to share about your artifact making experience today? Like, was it your first time using clay, or did you like reconnect a part of you after playing with the clay and sand?
Yes, I have a question about what we did and how it relates to time, I guess. So you've been talking about the speed at which archaeology happens, like that idea of slowness and attention. And obviously that contrasts with what you just said about Singapore being often a very fast place where progress is prioritized. And so what we did today arguably is taking a bit of like present moment and slowing it down, putting it backwards. So I think my question is something like, do you see this slowness in our attention to the past as an invitation to slowness in the present as well? Or how does it change our interaction with the now?
I think you described it very beautifully. More articulately than I can right now. Yeah, so I hope that this making is an invitation to slowness, to really appreciate the objects around you, to sort of like have a different view about artifacts and archaeology, not just as something that's dusty or something that's inside a museum, but also really objects that help us to live our daily lives. Because you never know, the things that you use today, they might be an artifact like 10,000 years later. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming down this afternoon to create artifacts with Fazleen and to see all the different clips. I hope that seeing the range and the way that archaeology has been, sort of portrayed in media in very dramatized ways, and as compared to how it actually is, has sort of, prompted you to think about the way that our touch points with archaeology in Singapore, how we actually get to know what it is. And so with that, a couple of closing announcements. First is, if you haven't had a chance to see Fazleen's work, please head to level 3, to Gallery 3, to see her work installation, Secrets, Sweat and Sand. And also, if you enjoyed yourself, please to fill up our feedback form, which allows us to keep bringing great programs to you. So we'll be bringing the QR codes around in a bit as you exit the room. And we've also already set up the boxes and paper bags for you to pack your little creations into as you leave. Yes, so that is all we have for today. Thank you so much for being here.